Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me and thank you for listening to me today. I'll just bring up my screen so that we can get started. Perfect. Anisha, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your
Great.
screen. We can hear you clearly. Please go ahead.
Excellent. So, hi, everyone. My name is Bachir Moussa. I'm the Regional Director at Nozomi Networks for the Middle East and Africa. And I welcome you to this session where we're going to talk about seeing, securing, and unifying your OT and IoT environment. So without further ado, I'll jump into it. The agenda we have for today is to touch a bit about the challenges and the driving forces in OT and IoT. As you can see, we're combining OT, IoT together. We're going to talk about the visibility and the security across the space, which is very relevant and very important at the moment. And we're going to look at the use case in manufacturing. And finally, I'll just summarize what we discussed today. So a bit about Nozomi and who we work with. We were founded in Switzerland, and that's where our European head office is. And as we've been growing exponentially, we now have our global head office in the US with our European head office where the research and development is based out of Switzerland. And you can see those are the different types of organizations that we partner and we work with. And really they come to us to support them across their security and visibility needs in their space. Oil and gas, pharmaceutical, mining, and utilities have been the pioneers in this space, and we've been working with them for many years. So I'm sure we have people from those organizations, and I would like to ask you to feel free to reach out to me after the event to provide you more information on this. So what are the challenges that we see in the organizations in this space? The first one is that they have a challenge when it comes to accurately visualizing their network and building a real-time inventory of the assets that they have. In many cases, they're running blind, or what they have is old and not up to date. And it makes it very difficult for them to manage their environment. But putting the difficulty of managing the environment aside, the real threat that not having the right visibility in the space is that it makes them unable to detect any threats, risks, and anomalies early on, which means they're only aware of an attack once it actually brings the network down. So they cannot take the right measures before an attack impacts their network. And also what it results in is that troubleshooting and forensic efforts to fix an issue when it occurs can take a long time because it could occur in a part of the network that they aren't even aware it exists. So those challenges have been around for a long time in the OT and IoT space, around not being able to visualize the network, not being able to detect threats, and the troubleshooting issues. And in addition to that, those challenges are becoming more and more challenging when you look at IoT in the space, because the IoT devices, they lack the standards and they lack the security that organizations want and need. Also, there are many instances where the IoT devices are directly connected to the internet, and this is a big security issue, but on the other side, it's actually a good operational incentive because it can speed things up and make things more efficient. So with that in mind, we also look at the visibility. Most OT-based systems can't actually see IoT devices, even though the IoT devices are implemented in the OT environment. And most IT-based systems can't see the OT devices. So how can you have an end-to-end view of what's happening in your environment? How can you build digital transformation programs? How can you build teams that can co-work and cooperate together? So all those are the challenges that we have been seeing. And in the last few years, those challenges haven't been taken seriously or action has been done. But now we're seeing market forces that are driving organizations to take action in this space. The first one is one we keep hearing a lot about, which is digital transformation. To me, digital transformation should be the same across the whole organization. It cannot be in part of an organization, for example, in IT and not in OT, or in IT and not in IoT. So digital transformation are great programs, and they're actually driving organizations to take action and to take change to open up the network from OT to IoT to IT, to combine them all together. In addition, what's happening at the same time that's helping to drive this initiative is the convergence of OT and IT. In the past, you would see siloed teams, IT on their own, OT on their own. They were not working together, and this was a preventative measure to digital transformation. In addition, what that meant is that OT networks could be segregated, they don't have to be connected, and as a result, they were more secure than being connected. But when you want to bring the organization together, IT and OT has to converge. When IT and OT converge, the challenges I mentioned earlier in the last couple of slides become more prevalent and more relevant. As a result, this is driving them to take action to build the right visibility and security models around the whole organization. Internet of Things, that's very, very relative to IoT. Organizations are using Internet of Things devices everywhere to help get better data, to help get more information, to take action quicker, to deliver services to their customers in a more timely manner. But what that also means is that you have devices, as I mentioned earlier, connected to the internet, not properly secured, so increasing the attack surface. And finally, attacks are becoming more and more relevant. They're happening more often. We used to always worry about our credit card data being stolen or misused. But currently, as we saw with the Colonial Pipeline attack, attacks are hitting closer to home. They're impacting the water we drink. They're impacting our electricity. They're actually impacting our day-to-day lives beyond monetary losses. So those four primary marketing forces are driving organizations to take change and investing in visibility and security in this space, in the OT and IoT space. So where do we come in as Nozomi? Our mission is threefold. Firstly, we help organizations to see everything that's on their network and to help them understand how their network is behaving. So we give them this real-time visibility of what assets they have, what firmware the asset's running, what vendor it's from, what vulnerabilities it may have. Then we detect any cyber threats, any risks and anomalies very early on to allow the organizations to take action before the impact takes down their network. Importantly, we do this passively without any network configuration change and without any impact on the network. And finally, regardless of how many sites, how many locations an organization has, we provide a unified view across all the assets. So our mission is to see, detect, and unify. And these are example screenshots of how we provide that. Now we let you know what's on your network and how it's behaving by showing you all the details, and you can pinpoint to every single device and go deeper. We can detect the threats and anomalies to allow you to take faster response. And finally, we unify it with reports across all your different assets. You can customize the alerts that you want to see, and wherever you may be, wherever you have the sites, you'll be able to see it from a central location. So where does cloud come into all this? At Nozomi, we believe on being at the forefront of where technology should be. We're at the edge and really hitting the trends of technology. Whenever we used to mention cloud in an OT environment, no one would take you seriously. People would get scared. But we delivered on a cloud management platform called Vantage. Our Vantage platform allows you to be able to see everything that's happening across all your sites from the cloud, which means you can easily get admin access and manage your environment. Why is this important? OT environments are growing, as we can see. OT environments are becoming connected. IoT devices are becoming embedded into the OT space. So you need a platform that can grow with you. You need a platform that can provide you the visibility wherever you may be and whatever new assets you may have. So as a result, this is where we came in with the Vantage platform to allow you to have unmatched visibility and to allow you to scale and grow exponentially without any limits. And if we look at the deployment architecture of Nozomi, the way we work is that our Guardian sensors connect to the switches in your environment through a span port, and we provide that visibility and security. And then we send the metadata to Vantage to allow you to manage your assets and manage all your environment from one location On top of that, we provide our market-leading threat intelligence service to help you detect and protect you against any known threats, and our asset intelligence service that continuously adds new assets into its database. So having mentioned all that, I would like to zoom in into one of the fields that we work in very closely, which is the manufacturing space. Cyber attacks on manufacturing space are increasing, but it's not just in manufacturing. It's the same in mining. It's the same in oil and gas. It's the same everywhere that has an OT environment that can impact people's lives. And actually, manufacturing is the #2 most targeted industry in the world. So people are targeting it, and potentially because it could have a large impact, there's a lot of money to be made by targeting it. But what it means is that manufacturing needs to take security more and more seriously than other industries. And some of the common operational and cyber challenges we see in manufacturing are here on the screen. So firstly, they need to stay on top of what's happening. So they do need the real-time visibility to take action. So visibility is important so that they know what's happening to be able to take the right action to keep the production lines running. Unplanned downtime, as we all know in a manufacturing space, costs a lot of money in production capacity. But on top of that, it also causes brand impact, because if they cannot manufacture the amount their suppliers, their customers need, it causes an impact on the brand. But what's interesting about manufacturing, and probably they started taking this action before their peers in the other verticals, is that the integration of the IT and IoT and OT happened early on, because all the environment is connected to each other, and they had to take security actions early on. And to continue closing those security gaps and to protect the manufacturing process, they need to leverage the expertise of IT. OT cannot do it on its own. So convergence happened early on. It's still continuing to happen. And finally, they need to apply the OT and IoT security best practices to help them be compliant and to help them be secure and continue the operations. So I'm sure if we have manufacturing industries on the call with us today, they can relate to this and to the importance of being secure and up and running. Just to finalize on my last slides, I would just like to mention once again that market forces are not to be taken lightly, and they are driving those organizations to implement solutions in OT to keep them secure and to provide the visibility. If you haven't done so yet, I can assure you your competition your peers are doing it. And this is a constant discussion we're having with multiple organizations. The number of attacks on OT networks are increasing, and they're becoming more dangerous to the end customers of the OT network providers. And it's something that really needs to be taken seriously. Different sectors, such as manufacturing, have different challenges, but they all come down to the common threat, which is around being attacked because they have an OT environment. OT and IT teams need to be working closely together. I constantly have meetings with multiple customers, and when we see the OT and IT teams working together, the conversation is different. They have trust, they're enabling digital transformation, they're working together, so their management and the whole organization can actually move to the next step. But I've also spoken to companies where the OT and IT teams are not working together. And what takes another organization days or weeks to take action takes them months. But the impact might seem trivial that it's just between OT and IT, but it's impacting the whole strategies of organizations. They cannot transform digitally. They cannot go to where they want to be. Their customers are getting impacted. Their revenues are getting impacted. So I would highly recommend that those teams work closely together. And finally, in the space we're talking about on OT and IoT, solutions must be very easy to deploy, non-intrusive, and integrate with the ecosystem. We pride ourselves on how easy we are to deploy. We partner with all the major OEMs so that they support our installed base and support our customers, and we don't cause any impact on the organization's network that we work with. With that, I would like to thank you. I'm available over chat if you have any questions. But I want to thank you for this opportunity and for listening to me today.